always wanted to skate this thing after seeing, there was a clip of Daniel Shimizu doing a front board down it, and we were on a trip from Nebraska to Phoenix, and stopped by this thing, and I was like, man, I want to get a trick on this.
I don't even want to watch it.
Broke my board.
No!
It ended up being a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I couldn't even quite hit all of them. This spot's in Indy. I was just like so confused as to why this telephone wire was hanging so low. Yeah, it was kind of tough to roll away in that grass because it was really, really wet.
That one was better. I'm glad I did.
Right there.
Oh my God, this was the most hectic session. This was in Tangier, Morocco. Right after warming up, it just a swarm of people came in. There's nothing quite like trying a trick you haven't done in a really long time in front of 300 strangers, so that was pretty fun. Oh, this thing was amazing to grind, super fun. Honestly, like, wasn't even hard to 50-50. Just landing the switch 3 flip on the hill was the hardest part, but that was probably the funnest trick I filmed on the whole part. Someone took me to this spot a few years back, and we were on our road trip through Denver, and we stopped there to kind of check it out. I think on one of them, my board went over. I was trying to get on top of it, and my board shot over the ledge down the drop, which is probably like 30 feet. I don't really think there was any chance of my body going over, but it kind of shook me up a little bit. Barney is just the hype man on the session always.
Can we just do it again real quick? Yeah. Alright, it's easy.
This kind of thing always happens to me, but it takes me like an hour and a half to get my bearings, and then once I figured it out, I did like a few in a row. Oh, shout out to Rai Rai for being, I think, the first person to skate this spot. You can't really ride on the metal roof, so we put some wood down, but you really feel vulnerable up there because it's on a busy street, and so the second you start trying it, it just looks like you're flying down a roof. But the thing is, the rail itself in the middle is, I think, just about 9 inches wide, so I put on 9-inch trucks, which are really wide for me. I mean, just taking the impact on my knee was really tough. I actually have like a knee brace for a partially torn ACL, so the cops showed up right after I landed the one. I wasn't really happy with it, but the cops showed up, and they weren't even upset so much as they were just confused. They're like, what the hell is going on here? You got some rocks and some wood, and you're like, it just looked like I'm here to hurt myself. We actually waited for them to drive away, and I just went up there real quick and just did it again, so I was really stoked. This spot's in Phoenix. I've skated it before, but always just wanted to hit the rail and then go through the tree. For sure the hardest trick I filmed in the entire video. It probably took me, I think it was 4 sessions, 2 hours apiece. I got credit carded on one of them. On top of it, it's right next to big apartment complexes, and so there's just college students that live in there, and they just like make fun of you and yell things at you while you're losing your mind. All right, this spot's in Madison, Wisconsin. Got super worked on that first try, but really funny story here. As I was trying to do this nollie, Jocelyn tried to tail drop off of the middle bar, not once, but twice, and just stuck in the really coarse tiles that make up the bank.
What happened on that?
You just did the same thing. Did the same thing.
I was just kind of getting warmed up. I was a little too afraid to ollie into it, to be honest. Felt a little more comfortable doing a nollie, and luckily landed the next one I stuck.
I got this like a football player.
I help run a nonprofit called Skate After School. We do after-school programs for underserved youth. We met Isaac when we started the program, which was probably 5 years ago now. I was there the day that he first picked up a skateboard. I took him on this trip up north, and we went to this set. Well, I think he was 14 when he did this, and this is a 14 or a 15. It was really rad, and I remember giving it to Manzuri and just being like, dude, we got to use this clip in my part. I was so pumped on it. And this was at the very last day of a super exhausting 3-week Europe trip, and Trevor had just switch flipped down a small mountain, and this was right down the street, but the sun was setting, and we were like, oh, let's go there and I was trying it, and there's a tree and a bench there, and I clipped one of them. I remember rolling away and just got worked, and it was pretty much nighttime out, but the lights came on, and it had some really cool lighting. Really stoked to do that. I just remember it being like 2 in the morning that we went to that spot. And then there's nothing worse than being the guy that is trying a trick at 2 in the morning. Everyone in the van is sleeping, and they're just so over it, and it's freezing outside, and they all just want to go to the hotel. Shout out to all the homies for sticking through that one. This thing I actually found on one of those skate spot apps, which is the first time it's ever been useful. The first 5 were terrifying, and just not knowing what was going to happen, and just not leaning back far enough and sticking. And if you could see, the metal is kind of sharp, so it digs into your board. And yeah, after I figured out how to do it, though, it just ended up being really easy. I think I ended up doing like a handful that night, and then I went back in the morning and we shot a photo because we didn't have a photographer with us. This thing, I always wanted to skate, and it was definitely one of the biggest rails I've ever skated. I don't know how people flip into that thing. Yeah, I board slid it, and I was just like, man, I think I might be able to switch lift this if I literally just push 20 miles an hour. The runway's perfect, though, so it's great for that. It was also right when I got on Etnies. I remember it was like the first week I was out there filming for an intro. Yeah, we went to that thing, and Menzo was like, oh, I want to keep this for a full-length video we're doing.
Can I watch it so that I know not to, if I need to do it again?
Oh, you don't need to do it again.
I think I remember setting my phone down on someone's bag. I'm like, oh, I'm stoked I did it, but I want to redo it. My phone was just getting stolen by someone who was at the spot. We ended up tracking it to an apartment down the street and like knocking on a couple doors and just realizing that the whole exercise was pointless. It was worth it.